Hello and welcome back. We are still continuing our studies of the string data type, and in this particular video we are going to learn about how to convert a string to a number. Okay, to help you to understand that, I'm going to use an example. I am going to create a variable called salary, and I will put in the, let's say, 7,950.25. Okay, and then I will say new salary is equal to salary plus 1,000. So I'm going to do 1,000.0, and then I want to print new salary. The output of this program is going to surprise you, and it's a good surprise because after that I will explain to you why it had to surprise us. So I'm going to run this program, Python 3. I call the file string to num. What is going on here? We are getting an error. But why should we have an error? I started out by declaring a variable salary, and I put in the 7,950.25. Let's first of all read the error, and then I will try to explain to you what's going on. So the error says type error, can only concatenate str, not float to string. So what is happening here is on line 2, I am adding 1,000.0, which you know to be a float, to salary. But the question is, what is the data type of salary? Well, salary is a string. Regardless of the fact that we have put numbers in there, as long as it is in a quote, as long as these numbers are enclosed in an opening and closing quote, it has no mathematical meaning. In fact, the better way to read this is salary is equal to the number 7 followed by the number 9 followed by the number 5 followed by the number 0 followed by dot followed by the number 2 followed by the number 5. So it has no mathematical sense. It is not 7,950. It is the character 7 followed by 9 followed by 5 followed by 0 followed by dot followed by 2 and followed by 5. So if we come to line 2 and we try to add 1,000 to it, Python is confused because you are adding on the left something that is a string and on the right something that is a float. And so Python doesn't know whether it has to do concatenation or it has to do the mathematical addition, because the two data types do not match. Okay, so if you have numbers that are in quote and you want to convert them into actual numeric data types, you can still use the float and the int data types that we spoke about, and the float and int functions that I used when I was teaching how to convert type. So in the type conversion, you could see that we could call float and pass in some value and it will convert it to a float for us. We can do the same to our strings. So rather than use the string salary here, I can convert it to a float by calling the float function on it. Okay, so if I do this, then now I am converting 7950.25 to 7,950.25. I really want you to understand this. Otherwise, it will bite you a couple of times and you'll be confused as to why your program is not working based on your expectation. But what I want you to know is, when you are using the plus operator, if you wanted to do mathematical addition, then what is on the left and the right are both supposed to be numeric data types. It could be an int and a float, that is fine, or float and float, or int and int. But as long as one is a string and one is a numeric data type, Python is not going to allow that, because the plus operator is overloaded. Certain times it is used for mathematical addition and other times it is used for concatenation, like we learned about not long ago. And so we want to make sure that we convert the salary. And remember, I said regardless of the fact that salary has some numbers in there, it is still string because it is in quote. Okay, so let's run this program, and then I'll come back to show you another way we could do this. So you can see that now if I add 1000 to 7950.25, I get 8950.25, and this is working because I converted salary from a string to the float data type. Well, I could also break it down into two steps. So I can say salary is equal to float salary, and then on line 3 I don't need to do this. Okay, so this is still the same program, just that I've broken it into two steps so that it helps you understand it. So what is happening here is we first of all declare a variable and we store a string in that variable. Now that same variable is what we are reusing on line 2, but we say this time around, take the string in salary, convert it to a float, and store it back in salary. So it's like, go to that memory location, you'll find a test there, convert this test into float and store it back in that same memory location. There's nothing wrong with it. Other programming languages will not allow this, but Python allows this. So we convert the salary, which initially was a string, into a float, and then now it has mathematical meaning, so it makes sense to use the mathematical addition on it. In the same way, we can also convert something that looks like an integer, a string that looks like an integer, into an actual int data type. Okay, so let's come here and I'll say age is equal to, let's say I'm 50 years old now. But remember, over here, age is not an integer, it is a string because of the quote. I'm stressing on this because it is very important that you understand this at this step. Okay, and so I can come here and say my new age, let's say 1 year after this, how old will I be? Of course, I'm not 50, this is fictitious. So I will say it is equal to int age plus 1. Then I can print new age. Okay, so what is happening here is I am using the int function and I'm passing in age, which is a string. But as long as that string can be converted into an integer, Python is going to convert it into a numeric value so that we can use it in the mathematical sense. So now I can run this program and I expect to see the new age to be 51. So of course you can see that when you add 1 to 50, you get 51. So what will happen if we try to convert a test into a numeric data type and the test is such that it cannot be converted? For example, if I say 50A, I mean, what does it mean to convert 50A into a number? It doesn't make sense. So let's see what Python is going to do. So I'm going to clear this and then we run this program again. And it gives you a nice error message. It says value error, invalid literal for int with base 10, 50A. All that this error message is trying to tell you is that you tried converting some text into a number, but a text contains something that has no mathematical sense, and so Python doesn't know how to convert it into a number. If you say 50A, how do I convert 50A into a number? It makes no sense. So rather than making an assumption so that you will have a surprise in your program, Python will fail with a value error message, and then once you read the error message, you will know how to deal with that. So this is it about converting between a string and the numeric data types that we have learned about. In the next video, we are going to take a look at how we can ask the user to enter something in our program. So far, we've learned how to print out something into the console, but because of what we've learned up to this point, we are ready to learn how to receive input from the user, and that is going to be the topic for the next video. So I hope to see you soon after this quick break.